Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife, Kathy. Kathy, you were telling me there's some huge news with annual passes at Walt Disney World that just came out.
Well, I've posted 2 articles in our Facebook group. So if you want to join our Facebook group, you can. It is, hold on, let me get the exact name because I did change the name a while back. Main Street Moments, a Disney community, but just type in Main Street Moments and you can join the group. And there's 2 articles. First, I posted an article from Inside the Magic earlier that said how people were really frustrated that they had to keep paying their monthly payments on their annual passes. And that would be Floridians, because if you live outside of Florida, you don't make monthly payments like Floridians do. We're allowed to pay monthly on our passes. And most people that I've talked to anyway, that's how they do it. And we do that too. So I read an article and I put it on the Facebook page this morning saying people were really frustrated with that. And then a few hours later, a new article came out from Blog Mickey, and I'm going to read some of it, saying that Disney is now stopping the monthly payments. So,
Yeah.
Problem with all this stuff is it's so confusing. Things are changing from day to day. And everybody's like, not just with Disney, but with everything, like what's going on, what's happening. And it seems to change all the time. Disney announced that they were taking reservations starting June 1st. So what I thought that meant was that you can't book a reservation until June 1st, but that's not true. I actually booked a reservation for the first weekend in June. I canceled it, but I wanted to do it to see if I could. And I was able to book a room. The rooms are less expensive than normal. And I was able to book a room for that first weekend in June, but I canceled it because, I just wanted to see if I could do it. And I could. So they are booking rooms after June 1st. I personally would not do it because I think things are just too up in the air right now.
Yeah.
So now they have an article saying, and this just came out on Blog Mickey. It says, as previously announced, all active Walt Disney World Resort annual passes will be extended for the number of days the parks are closed. That's what they initially decided to do. So if they were closed, I guess they anticipated only being closed for a couple weeks. But now it looks like Disney's going to be closed 2 or 3 months. Mm-hmm. So they were extending the annual passes, and they were going to keep charging you every month while the park was not open.
Because they thought it might be a month.
Maybe. And that's really, I think, a breach of contract, because I think in order to be making those payments, you have to have accessibility to the parks. And I think they're probably worried about some legal issues, because I would imagine when you sign a contract, it's like, you make a payment in exchange for services or whatever. So people are like, well, why am I making payments if I'm not getting access to the parks? So it says here, in lieu of extension of the passes, pass holders who have paid in full, so some people who have paid in full, like outside of the state, may choose to receive a partial refund for the theme park closure period. Or starting April 5th, they will automatically stop and waive all upcoming monthly payments while the theme parks are closed. We will also retroactively refund payments made between March 15th through April 4th. Payments will resume on the pass holders' regularly scheduled payment dates once the parks open. Please note, pass expiration dates will not be extended, and passes will expire on their originally scheduled expiration date. So now they've thrown out the idea of extending your pass time to refund. Now our payment comes out on the first of the month, the first or second. So we probably got charged. I should check. We probably got charged already for the month, and then it starts April 5th. So we're going to get refunded that money, and we will not get charged until the park officially opens, but our pass renewal date will not change. It'll still be December 5th or December 3rd, which is what it is now, like around our anniversary. We'll still have to renew. We won't get any extra time.
Well, I was kind of looking forward to having a couple months of having our annual pass without having to pay for it. But I can understand, because so many people are not working now, and to have that automatically debited out of their account when there may not be any money in there would cause overdraft fees. And they probably did it so that they're not liable for these overdraft fees, charging for something that you can't go and see because it's not open.
Well, I would have liked if they would have given us the option, because I would have just been fine with it too. I would have been like, just, add it on to but maybe it's too much work or too much hassle to do that. So,
well, when
like I said, it keeps changing every day.
Well, I think they are going to open up soon after June 1st. I'm not 100% sure the theme parks are going to open up on June 1st, but since you can actually make where did you make reservations to stay there on the night of June? Where did you make a reservation at again? I forgot.
I went on the Disney website
Yeah,
and
which
booked a
hotel?
room for that first weekend in June at like I think it was the
Yeah,
Caribbean, and it
that's
was
right.
like
It was a
200
Caribbean
a
beach.
night, which is cheaper than it normally
Yeah,
is.
so they just because they have hotels that they are renting out to people doesn't mean all the theme parks are going to be open. But
Right. But what
I
they said on the Disney food blog is they did a video on it recently, and they said that World and Disneyland will probably follow whatever model they do in Shanghai. And what they're doing in
yeah,
Shanghai is they've opened some of the hotels and some of the eating area and all that. So I'm wondering if they're just going to open Disney Springs first
well that's like
and
they
then
did over
open
there.
some of the hotels.
Well, what I'm guessing is it will open up that week. I don't think Disney wants to rent hotel rooms to people if they are going to have to refund them. I think Disney has been in contact with the government in Florida and they've given them an okay for that date because they don't people are going to make plans if they rent hotel rooms, they're going to make plans and I find it interesting because there was a lot of speculation about when the parks open, is it going to be open to everyone or will they do a soft opening for Florida residents? Well, it's not a soft opening for Florida residents for the hotels. So I think this soft opening Florida resident thing may not be the way it goes, that it may be open to everyone. So if they're renting hotel rooms, they plan on being open in some fashion then because people are going to be flying in, driving in, and all of these things. So the last thing Disney's going to do is take everybody's money for these hotel rooms without being open. So I think that June 1st date is a pretty solid date to be open in some fashion. We just don't know what yet.
I hope so, and I think they do like monthly payments for people in California. I'm pretty sure because
Yeah.
somebody made a comment a friend of mine who lives in California goes to Disneyland all the time, and it's just a confusing time, and I think people really just want some answers. And when Disney comes out and says one thing and then another, and I know things are in flux and they're making changes according to what the government's doing. I don't think they anticipated things being closed this long, but I do think definitely by June 1st, since they are taking reservations, I'm thinking they are going to open, but I do feel that they're going to have to limit some crowd sizing here. And I do think, like you went to Chipotle the other day and you said they had X's on the ground.
Yeah.
Where you had to stand. And I'm wondering if they're going to do that
6 feet apart.
Because
yeah.
I cannot imagine them allowing people right now until there's a vaccine or until this wave is completely over. I cannot imagine Disney being allowed to have people crammed into a queue, because when you're in a queue, you are right on top of each other. Everybody crams in together.
Yeah, no 6 feet.
So, yeah, I'm thinking they're going to put things on the ground to mark. But, how does that work if you have kids?
Well, when this is over,
do you guys stand 6 feet apart when you're with your family of four too?
When this is over, the social distancing is something people are still going to try to do, but it's not going to be enforced. But at Disney, social distancing is impossible. My biggest fear with Disney,
it's going to be hard,
is that they are going to reduce crowd sizes, which is a good thing. But to make up for that, are they going to raise the prices a lot? That's what I'm really, really worried about.
I think they will. I mean, they have all this growth going on. They have all this money they're putting into the parks. They've already raised ticket prices. They've already raised the prices of merchandise, food, annual passes, ticket prices.
That's right.
To make up for the cost. So now they're losing millions and hundreds of millions, possibly billions of dollars across the world over all of this. Who do you think's going to make up for this?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's going to happen, that they're going to, I was going to make a dental appointment for Emily today, and she had to go see her dentist. Luckily, it can wait a couple weeks. But when I called to make the appointment, the lady told me, we're only seeing patients 2 days a week. And if you come in, it's double the price.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, is this going to be the new normal now? Once things open, these businesses are going to want to recoup all this money they've lost.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if Disney is going to do the same thing. And plus, if they limit the crowd size, which I think they're going to have to do, that might be reflected in the tickets. They might say, look, it's $200 now to get in. But you know what? People will pay it. People are going to be so anxious
Yeah,
to
but
go back. But
the
I
thing
wonder if
with
our passes
Disney,
will go up too.
what they've done is the purpose of a lot of these renovations, like Ratatouille and Tron. We talk about this a lot on the show. One of the major purposes, it's not the sole purpose, but one of the major purposes of new attractions is to increase capacity,
Yeah.
increase the number of people that can walk through the gate that they can charge to walk through the gate. So if they are, because of COVID-19, coronavirus, reduce capacity, their entire business model has constantly been increasing capacity. So this is a mess on their part. It really is a mess for Disney. I would imagine that Disney has statisticians and mathematicians
Oh, I'm sure.
that are like the top MIT, Harvard, Yale kind of guys who know how to handle such things. But we were talking yesterday, there was an article in the news that a lot of retail stores are going to change the way that the aisles work, that they're going to be one-way aisles, that you can't walk both ways on an aisle so people don't pass
Right.
one another. And theme parks are not set up for this new world that we're in.
No, they're not. In fact, when you're in a queue, it's the way they go. As you know, you're next to people next to you in line, and then the next row in front of you that's going in the opposite direction. So I'm wondering if Disney right now is restructuring their queues. I would think that they would have people in there restructuring the queues. I'm sure they're thinking about this.
How can they do that? If they have people, if just for example, with Space Mountain, if people have to stand 6 feet apart in line for Space Mountain, which is the social distancing distance, right? You would have a line from the train at the top all the way, I think, down to Main Street. If people had to stand 6 feet, it might be to the gate, might be to the monorail.
A lot of people think that they're going to do boarding groups for every ride.
People hate boarding groups. Boarding groups are awful. That won't work.
Happy just to get in the park.
That won't work.
Now, when you were in the boarding group, you told me when you went on the boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, there was nobody in the queue when they let you in.
Yeah, but there's a big problem with that. With Rise of the Resistance, when we got on our boarding group, there were other things to do, and I was in one of the first boarding groups. What number did I get? What boarding group?
3.
3. I got boarding group 3, and I haven't seen anyone get lower than 3 on any YouTube videos. And if you watch our video on that, there's a trick to get on the early boarding groups, which you can see on our vlog. But there were other things to do. So if I'm on boarding group 55, I can still go on Aerosmith, Tower of Terror. I can get Smuggler's Run. I can do, go over in Cars. But if everything's a boarding group, there's nothing to do. So people will just be congregating. I think it's a disaster based on this new standard that we are living under. And what about the restaurants? This takeout thing that we're doing now isn't going to be the requirement when this is all over, but people are not going to want to be in close contact with people.
No, they're not.
They're not going to want to be. Even now when I'm out in stores, I go to Walmart and I walk out the door, I see people dodging to the left, dodging to the right. Nobody wants to walk near each other anymore.
They don't. It's really sad, but I think, this is only going to be till there's a vaccine, which could be till next spring.
Yeah. It's a long time.
But I think what they're going to have to do is really limit the number of people in the park. That's the only way they're going to be able to have some control over this. Yeah. They cannot have the crowds at the level they're having. So I think until now I could be wrong, but if I was a Disney executive, I would be like, look, we got to get people in to make some money here, but we're going to have to limit the crowds by like half. So I was reading another article that, Disney agreed to pay all their employees through April 18th. They had made that announcement when they closed. Well, now it came out, an article here, again, on Blog Nikki. Blog Nikki is really a great blog. It's one of my favorites, that Disney has announced that it will begin to furlough employees beginning April 19th. It says Disney employees to be furloughed include executive, salaried, and non-union hourly cast members based in the U.S. Employees impacted by the furlough will remain Disney employees, and they will receive full health care benefits, plus the cost of employee and company premiums will be paid by Disney, and those enrolled in Disney Aspire will have continued access to the education program. Additionally, employees with available paid time off can elect to use some of it or all at the start of the furlough period.
Yeah.
Once furloughed, and they're eligible to receive an extra $600 per week in federal compensation. So I think Disney is doing more than enough for their employees. I mean, even the executives are getting furloughed. They're, Bob Iger and the other guy, they're not taking their salaries right now. Everybody's
Yeah.
hurting. I mean, they paid their employees through for like
Well,
a month.
I don't think Bob Iger's hurting, even though he's not going
Well,
with his
yeah,
salary.
yeah,
Bob Iger
that's
will
right.
be
He
Bob
might have
Iger will
had
be
to sell
okay.
one of his
He'll
yachts.
be
Exactly.
okay.
He's
He'll
not
be
hurting.
okay. His
Yeah, he'll
his
be okay.
his shoes cost more than most of us make in a month. He wears some fancy shoes.
Probably.
I like Bob Iger,
Probably.
but he'll be well. Here
He'll be fine.
okay. Now this is interesting because since you can make a reservation and stay in a hotel on Disney property June 1st. We're
Okay.
talking about, are they going to have new rules for the queues and everything? They need to have the cast members in there to do training if there's going to be some new rules about queues and crowd sizes and all the food locations.
Well, I think what they're anticipating is, I think they're not furloughing everybody. Okay, some people. I think they're anticipating when they come back, they're not going to have the crowds that they had before, and they're not going to need all the employees.
There's going to be a line to get into Walt Disney World like opening day in 71. It's going to be huge. People are going to go in mass to get into Walt Disney World when it reopens again. I mean, this is a historic thing. Nothing like this has ever happened before. Disney has never really been closed, except for maybe a hurricane.
They even know what to do. I don't. I think this is a first for everybody, and I don't think people. I think Disney, I think a lot of times they don't know what they're going to do. But a good indicator, like they said on Disney Food Blog, is to see what they do at Shanghai, because they have opened some of the hotels.
Yeah.
They've opened the shops and some of the restaurants for now. So I'm thinking they're going to do the same thing at Disney. I think they're going to start letting people in some of the hotels, and they might even only book every other room. They might even space that out. And I think they're going to open Disney Springs, and then maybe they'll let in, like I said, just Florida residents.
Kathy, this is a mess. How are they going to do character photo opportunities? Are those going to be gone?
They might not have them for a while.
Yeah. And, this is, and when you called to book a room, you called yesterday to book a room on June 1st. They didn't say, well, only Disney Springs is going to be open. They didn't give any disclaimers.
No, I did it online. I did it online.
But there's no disclaimer telling you that, well, if you can book this room, but the parks are going to be closed, or only Magic Kingdom. And, people are going to descend like crazy, because this is the closest we will ever get to going to opening day Magic Kingdom 71, because there's been a few days when Disney closed, right? 9/11, a hurricane or two. There's never been an extended closure like this before, and hopefully it'll never happen again. So there's going to be a line down Osceola Parkway all the way to the Turnpike to get into the park. It's going to be a mess.
Well, what I'm thinking is, like I said before, and the way I would do it is, I would only open the park to like Florida resident pass holders for a couple weeks, and that would be it. Those are people that already have their tickets, and then they can control the crowd and kind of test things out, and see how it goes. And then by August, by mid-July, things will really be calmed down. It'll be hotter. And a lot of doctors say that kills the virus, and things will be much more calmed down. Then they can say, okay, now we're going to open the park a little more. They're not going to be back to where they were, I don't think, until next year, until there's a vaccine.
I mean, and what good is the monorail? You get on that monorail, it's packed. To get on
they might not be able to run it. They might not.
Well, how are you going to get to the park? You got to get across the lake.
They'd have to limit the number of people.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a disaster. And this furlough thing, if they need a soft opening, they have to have they're going to have new procedures for everything. So they really need to have a soft opening of just cast members to test out whatever new crowd procedures they're going to have.
They might, and that's something they might do. They might.
Well, not if they're furloughing them. Not if they're going to furlough
them. They might open the park for a week and just say cast members only. Let's try it out. But I think they're going to really have to limit the crowd.
This is a mess.
They're going to have some quality control, and there's a lot of risk management involved. I'm sure they're bringing in people like that. A lot of liability issues. They have to do everything right on paper, and whatever laws or rules or regulations are imposed, there really are no laws for this. Whatever regulations they put down through the local and federal government, they're going to have to adhere to, because what I think is going to happen is they're going to open the country soon, May or June, and they're going to put down regulations and say, okay, if you own a business, you can open, but you have to space people out. People have now, I think they're going to, now in Shanghai, when you go there, they give you a mask
Yeah.
and you have to wear it. Everywhere. It said on the Disney food blog that they give you a mask and you have to wear them in the park everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that works when you order food at a restaurant. You have to take it off to eat, but so everybody's watching. So I think that's going to happen too. Right now, they're debating the whole mask issue. I see a lot of people wearing masks right now. And I personally think it's a good thing if you use them properly. It helps you not cough on people, not sneeze, and it can help if somebody coughs on you, not get all of it in your mouth or nose. So I think Disney might look into that and hand everybody a new mask, a disposable mask when they walk in the park. I mean, this is nuts.
They really, I am surprised they have not started talking about what new procedures, if any, they're going to have when the parks reopen. And they're taking reservations already.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to. They still have a couple months. I mean, it's only April 2nd. So they still have 2 months till they're opening until, well, at least till the hotels are opening.
I've been thinking about wanting to go for opening day at Magic Kingdom, of course. But I'm starting to think that's not a good idea. I think it's going to be the craziest day at Walt Disney World since the 71 opening day when they had the cars lined up.
Go. I would go if I
We'll never get in.
You should go and at least see what happens.
It's going to be, you know, it's going to be, it's going to be the Galaxy's Edge opening times 5,000.
It depends on who they let in. They might not even sell tickets. Like I said, they might have it for pass holders only, and they might even do.
Why would they do that? They don't make the money on the ticket entrance. We already are paying.
They'll make money on food, and I don't know
if anyone's going to eat. If anybody's going to eat in public anymore, who knows? It's going to be a whole new world, Kathy.
They might just announce it locally. You know how when you were at Universal and you and Emily went on the soft opening of the of that ride you didn't like?
Oh, Fast and Furious. The Fast and the Furious.
We only heard about it because you were in the park or we were in the hotel and somebody started talking about it.
Yeah.
So they might just locally tell the employees, okay, we're going to open tomorrow, the park. So just kind of get the word out and let's just see if people in the neighborhood, locals, show up, and they will.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. And but I think they need to, when it gets to a certain capacity, they have to say, okay, no more people. So it's going to be hard to get into for a while, I'm guessing. I mean, it's really going to be interesting to see how they handle this because, like you said, it's a whole new world. Nobody's ever experienced this. A whole new world, like the song. Nobody's ever experienced this before. There's no model to look to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I know they're doing certain things in Shanghai, but I would imagine the crowds are not nearly what they are at Disney World. At Shanghai, I can't imagine they have those crowd levels that we get. I mean, Disney World's got to be the most crowded out of all the parks.
And Shanghai is built to handle crowds a little bit better because, one thing about Magic Kingdom is the walkways are not big enough to handle the crowds that they normally have there. They're just too small and not wide enough. That's why it's so crowded. It's going to be a mess. Going to be a mess.
You think so?
Oh, it's going to be a disaster. I'm sure they're going to have some new procedures like we're talking about. They're going to have some social distancing rules. There's going to have to be some different rules with food service and all these things.
Right.
And who knows about character meetups? I mean, my goodness. But having the new rules and then having everybody understand them and go by them and use them, it's going to be chaotic. Total chaos.
So I disagree on that. I think they're going to roll things out slowly. And I think that they're going to open up certain things and keep certain things. Like, I don't think they'll have the character meeting for a while. I think they'll only probably open the quick service restaurants and maybe only a few restaurants. I think they're only going to open Disney Springs at first and then limit the number of people. I think they're going to slowly open things up and it's not going to all come in at once, but on the same day. I think it's going to be a slow rollout, testing the waters day by day. What's interesting will be what they do with the Halloween parade, because that starts, they're starting Halloween mid-August in Disney, which is fine. And they have already sold tickets for that event. And I haven't heard anything about them refunding those tickets. So I'm assuming they're definitely going to be open by then.
Yeah.
And those always pack in the crowd. So I wonder if they're going to really limit of those events. I would imagine they'd say, look, we got to cut this back.
Oh, and by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm why Kathy sounds a little in the background. Kathy's on the phone. Kathy and I are social distancing a little bit. So when we are doing the show together, we are in different rooms. So we're not up close with the microphone. while we're doing the
Yes.
show. So we're social distancing while we're doing the show, and that's why she's on the phone and I'm here. Well, we're going to find out soon enough, Kathy, and it's going to be, if anything, we know it's going to be a lot of people are going to line up to get in like crazy, and it's going to be chaos on opening day of Disney World, no doubt about it, no
Well,
question.
we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people, especially people that live near Disney World, are really having, I mean, it would be really hard to live like Michael K and Tanya. It would be really hard to live there and be so close and not, I'm sure Michael K is going nuts. I mean, he's like got to be going through withdrawals right now.
Yeah,
To not be able to
yeah,
go to the park,
yeah.
not know when, and I really thought Disney Springs would stay open, at least for takeout. So I was really surprised when they
Yeah.
even closed, because I thought,
Yeah.
well, at least people can go to Disney Springs and get their Disney fix and at least go eat or pick up food. And they're not even letting you do that. So I'm sure it would be really hard as hard as it is for us, for people that live there that are so close, that
Yeah.
are used to going every day and being at the parks every day as part of their routine. And now they're like sitting at home and like, I don't know, I don't know what to do. This is like, for vloggers, it's like part of their job.
Well,
and how they make a
as
living,
much
too.
as I want to be there on that opening day, I don't know if it's, well, we'll find out. I want to think about it. But I want to be there on the opening day so bad. It just seems like I'm going
I
to
think you
I'm going to
should go.
drive there and not be able to get in.
Well, let's see what they say. I think we'll find out more in May. I think right now that in April, we're not going to find out too much. I think they're probably working out logistics themselves, and maybe they don't know. But I think starting in May, we're going to hear more. And I think, like I said, they're going to roll things out slowly, one at a time, lower crowd levels. And I think it's going to be like that for a while. And they're probably, they keep saying on the news that we could get a new round of this virus, not as bad, but a new round in the fall. So that could put a damper on things again, too. I mean, I can't imagine them closing down again.
Yeah.
But they might have to just, like I said, limit the crowds. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'm frankly kind of sick of talking about this, but this is just the topic.
I just want it open. I just want to. Well, listen, everyone. If you're not already, subscribe, all right? And thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. All right, we'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks for listening.